Hey, everybody. Welcome to Improv FAQ at Length. This is a series of longer conversations about improv topics that have lots of questions surrounding them. I'm James Quesada.
And I'm Bob Wick.
And we are going to talk about, in this episode, the short-term future of improv. We just kind of want to check in and update and speculate about what another 6 months of theaters being closed potentially looks like. And, you know, one of our first episodes of Improv FAQ at Length was on virtual improv and how people were quickly adapting to doing virtual improv. And it was fascinating and interesting and cool and exciting to see how quickly some communities were doing that. And there's been a whole slew of things going on in that realm. Only very little of which Bob or I have really participated in or seen, but enough of it to talk about what's been going on in the world of virtual improv. And also, you know, on the show, I guess it's kind of like a sensitive subject, but there's been theater closures, and you know, so we're just going to kind of talk about what we're feeling about that whole situation and what that means for the short-term future until any kind of normalcy starts to creep back in. But
while we're talking, this is a conversation, so please feel free to leave comments or ask questions. We would love to hear what you're thinking. We have a couple people watching right now, and we would like to hear what you think about what can we do to improve things, or just like bring attention to things that are already going on that maybe are not getting as many eyes as it should.
Yeah, especially in that realm of virtual improv shows. If there's styles or kind of bag of tricks,
techniques,
fun formats and whatnot that you've seen in virtual improv, please share, because it's very new, and even if we were making a heavy effort to see as much as possible, we couldn't possibly see enough to really know it all. So yeah, where should we start here, Bob? What generally, like, I guess the thing is that, like, major theaters and venues are closed until the summer, I think. And some smaller venues, some smaller venues were getting permission to open up, and I think it just varies from like state to state and maybe even like county to county in those states. But like some venues were getting permission to open back up. I know some, like, stand-up places were finding ways to do things outdoors.
Parking lot performances have become very popular.
So, and I think there was at least one theater in Florida that was doing improv shows with, you know, capacity limits and precautions and all that. And so, you know, it started to kind of maybe seem like some people were going to see if they could safely do shows. But then, you know, we hit this new spike, and it seems like things are going to get squashed and shut down.
Unfortunately,
So yeah, you know, what are your feelings like at the moment about, I don't know, how long it's been and how long it's going to last?
I hope. Well, I really hope the vaccine is something that is true and working, and something that can be, you know, an effective way to getting things back or too close to as normal as we would like, so we can open these theaters. But for right now, I think Dave Chappelle has the only model of how a show should be ran safely. You know, it's smaller capacity, but in a big open space. Everything's, you know, basically, you know, quarantined and sectioned off, so, you know, no one's bumping into each other. And unfortunately, these smaller theaters don't have that capacity, or it wouldn't be a strong business model to operate in that way, because the overhead would be too much. So
yeah, and also, as the cold and flu season comes along, it's coming
Right.
with the cold weather. Like, so
Yeah.
outdoor options are harder to pull off unless you're going to do like a heated tent, which again is like a monetary budget for even trying it. And then people are probably going to be less and less likely to think, oh yeah, I'll go see an outdoor show.
Right.
It's 45 degrees out. I'll go see an outdoor show. Maybe again, this just takes like a too much space, more space than most theaters have access to. But like, the car in your car sort of drive-in experiences are a thing that, that's how they're
Yeah.
doing like the
But
speeches during
but
the
also
election.
like you have to think about the performers. Most performers improv isn't their main job, so it's not like going to work. It's something we do. We don't get we don't really get paid to do it. This is more like just more of a passion. So some of us won't be as willing to get on stage and mixed up with our friends. Unfortunately, not because we don't
Yeah.
want to. It's just like depending on what
Yeah.
their situation is, it might not be the best decision for them morally to get a jump on and interact with a bunch of people. Even if you are friends and everything, it's not about trusting your friends. It's about not trusting this virus.
Yeah. Well, even then though, like I think it's fair too to say that like the risk reward, or not
Right.
even risk, the risk reward thing is more about the virus.
Yeah.
But it's also like an enjoyment factor. It's like,
Right.
what am I going to do? Is it going to be? It's like, I wonder for some of these theaters that have had small audiences in recent months, probably not a ton of them, if any, doing it right this moment, but like small capacity theaters who have tried opening their doors, like are they getting like super small audiences? Like are they reaching the capacity that they're giving themselves, or what? And like, I don't know, for some performers who are at a theater where you're not getting paid, you definitely want to support the theater, but it's like, am I going to perform to a small crowd? If we're trying to something outside and it's that cold,
Right.
am I going to like wear a jacket and perform?
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, it's just, there's a whole mix of like, is it worth it, on the performer side to consider too, which I don't think has a ton of pros on the list.
Right. So let's talk about what has been working, like virtually. Like it's, I know there's been a lot of cooking shows, which wasn't too surprised. But it was like, wow, like I've seen a lot of kitchens lately.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, what has been working, I think honestly, like I saw the home team, and I'll hear Julia do shows
yeah,
with the magnet and stuff, and like I think what's one thing that's working is an audience sort of normalizing this format,
right,
and I have found myself where I was previously just kind of like weirded out by the two-dimensionalness of it,
yeah,
warming up to it more and more, just casually seeing stuff like the home team show I thought was really great, and Julia's magnet shows are really fun, and I've been actually kind of surprised, and maybe it is just kind of like it's so much more like focused to be staring at the screen, that like, and without the pressure of like a real actual live audience.
yeah,
I've been surprised at how like clean some of the scene and dialogue exchanges have been, that like, oh, this is a really, like, there's a higher percentage of coherent scenes that really build line by line. Like I
right,
personally haven't seen a ton that like falls apart dialogue wise as quickly or easily as some of the throw together shows
yeah.
on
I agree.
stage.
I agree. I think most of that's because you're not having to do as much physical work. You don't have to utilize your space most of the time. You're either sitting or standing in front of your laptop performing to that, rather than thinking about object work or standing on the back line, or that kind of thing going on. So you can just sit there and listen. I think also, with the previous development of how Zoom used to be, how hard it was to overtalk. People had to learn how to give and take a little bit better. So I think there's been some really cool skills developed in the last 6 months that has really helped the development of the online improv.
Yeah, I agree. And so let me check in real quick with Luane, who I believe is out in Vegas. Correct me if I'm wrong, Luane, but Luane says we do talk intermingled with scenes and songs. Not sure if it's actually working as well at Man Candy. Can you elaborate on that, Luane? Are you doing like you have like an accompanist or like a piano player or something while you're doing scenes virtually, or like how are you using talk and scenes intermingled with songs? Curious about that. And in the meantime, while you elaborate, Pete and I have been doing Go Labs short form, and I know PJ's been doing some short form shows here and there too. And I think short form is actually a great type of performance for virtual. We've been toying around with specifically in StreamYard. There's some cool pieces of production that we try to use that I think have worked pretty well. And it's been really fun to see Pete, who was always our guy in the tech booth, or like the main tech manager, stage manager for Go Comedy, starting to learn the tools and the tech that's available in StreamYard and start to put those to use.
He's really good with the StreamYard stuff. Because I remember when we first started doing that for like Digibits and everything. Like, I mean, he was good, but like the stuff he does now is a little more complicated, and he's progressing. I also heard he's doing a little more with like learning about graphics and stuff like that. So he's picking up some cool stuff, man. It's been wild.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's fun to kind of like just play around with those pieces of tech available on whatever platform. And there's also like auxiliary apps. I know there's some popular ones from a company called Rogue Amoeba that are like Farrago, this app called Farrago. You can kind of set up music cues and stuff. If anybody's familiar with, if anybody who is more familiar with like working stage tech, you might be familiar with Q Labs, and Farrago is kind of like Q Labs, where you can kind of line up snippets and cues and attach them to shortcuts and whatnot. But it's much more conducive to live stream, and it's sort of simplified and user friendly. And then you can like route your audio in such a way that everything that you're doing through your live stream platform is also going to run through those sound effects that app. And so that can be kind of fun and useful. Pete's been using that to do like music cues, where we would usually do music cues in short form games for like line games after a punchline or in transition and stuff like that. And yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking like how great it's been, like all the development of the apps and this the improvements in Zoom or Streamline, or what's it called? StreamYard. I can't get them confused. Yeah, names. Streamline, live stream, like you kids with your apps. But like people's own equipment too, like their personal equipment. I've noticed a lot more microphones. Everybody's getting a Snowball or something the equivalent to better webcams. Because at first it was pretty sketchy. People trying to use old, outdated equipment, or and not having microphones, and the sound quality was really subpar.
And there's a whole world of like so the main thing that I'm going to say here is that like we said this early on too, but like this situation is really going to
Yeah.
force like this big tech boom specifically
Yeah.
for live stream communication, and these live stream companies are going to be um, enabled by the demand of it all, and I'm sure money, to keep developing very quickly how
Yeah.
clean audio and video can come through, and deliver all these different things. But people are also doing that too, as
Right.
consumers are like, well, I want to participate, and then yeah, they'll pick up a decent microphone. And there's also like a whole world of platforms and software that is meant to like network and produce things.
And it's becoming more affordable.
Yeah.
It's great. I was talking to a friend. He's at work. He's in a band, and he was talking about there's a new stream thing that's developing, so bandmates can get together and play music at the same time, because that's been an issue with lag and whatnot. Because the way they've been doing before is, okay, drummer, send me a clip of your beat. Cool, I'll lay my bass line under, like almost doing like an 8-track system piece by piece. But they're developing it now where everybody can play or try to play at the same time, which if they can get that down, that's going to be huge, because then you can do like a musical accompaniment and just build a full sound wall, if you would. And that's going to just increase the production value of your shows. And it's going to be really cool what people can do with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like you said, it's already come a long way in the first 7 months of this. People are giving themselves a resource and also finding new software like that, no matter what it's intended for. Like if it's intended for a meeting or whatever, like improvisers have been finding stuff that's like meant for other things and been like, we can use this for, something fun for our show. And so, yeah, I imagine like as soon as the band thing for rehearsals is done, then improvisers be like, we can do musical improv now.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Bring back Rock-O-Matic. That'd be dope. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like maybe I'm missing one thing. Luane got back to us. Let me pull this up. Ooh, this is okay. So Luane says piano works really well, better than tracks, which can be ran through a different line, but sometimes cut
due to complications.
Sorry, just taking a beat to read this through, and then I'll paraphrase in a moment.
Oh, I can hear the cat.
Okay. Oh yeah, do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
Julia and I are watching a cat for a week, and he's getting comfortable and creating a little bit of mischief and also a little bit of whining when we lock him out of the room, which is cute. But he can't be in here right now, damn it. Okay, so Luane, basically you're saying piano works well when you have it, but you don't always have it. And then when you're using tracks for audio, sometimes it'll not sync up with with people as well. Which that actually surprised me too. I mean, like I think that like I haven't seen like musical improv that was like one person playing a piano on one location and then the rest of people following along with it, because the delay is like inevitably off enough to make it kind of wonky. I haven't seen it like done perfectly by any means, but I think that's pretty going to be coming soon if there aren't already people doing it. So
Luane, that show sounds pretty cool. Leave a link in the comments so we can check it out, please. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see what you're doing out there.
So, and then what else is working? Have you seen anything else, Bob, that's been like interesting or heard of anything else?
I've been watching some of the Planet Ant stuff. Been watching a lot of Jeff, and I can't think of his girlfriend's name. Jeff Orts. And I can't think of her. I can see her face, but I can't remember her name. And they've just been doing like another cooking show, but they're vegan, so it's kind of fun because they're both comedians and improvisers, and they just, and you can see the relationship, on camera. It's just really cute.
Talk about Jeff and Esther.
Yes, thank you, Esther. Like, God, I was
Yeah.
bothered. Like, I could see, like, I could have painted her picture, but I cannot. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. I suck at names, man. It's
Yeah.
yeah, Jeff and Esther. They've been doing a lot of cool work. Jeff himself, like, he's been really utilizing Instagram and stuff to create a lot of cool content. He's got a show that just talks about like the news and everything that's that needs improvement, and he's a really funny guy, so it's always interesting. I do like my news with a little bit of comedy because it's rough out there. So
Yeah.
if you can put a spoonful of sugar with the medicine, it's helpful.
Yeah. And there's definitely been a lot of really fun and interesting. I mean, like DigiBits, I thought was such a great thing too. Like,
Oh yeah,
in terms of like using this platform for like produced content, or unscripted but like non-scenic stuff. I think it works really great. And that people have been doing really cool stuff. I think doing like improvised scenes is still like the bigger hurdle to do in
yeah.
a really the most gripping way. But so I want to bring up Isaac now, because we shot Isaac a text, our buddy Isaac Kessler, to see if he would be able to jump on here, but he hasn't gotten back to us. So I'll just
You missed your shot, Isaac. Oh man.
Yeah, you had one shot, man.
One shot, bud, sir.
So Isaac is very tech savvy.
Yes.
And he has he's this combination of software that he uses. He uses like some web plugins, things like snap filters, where
Right.
you can kind of just do like silly Snapchat type things, cartoony animations based on what facial expression you're making and all that, and some green screen effects. But he also has like a green screen bodysuit that he wears, that he can kind of like paste. He can kind of layer one background with a different bodysuit animation, and then he can also take people's faces and use them. I don't know if he's creating like a custom snap filter through some web plugin like really quickly, but we were bullshitting around with him, and he like took Ken Hall's face and like put it on as an animation, and was like talking through it. It was like it was just wild. It was like, this is crazy. And he joined for Go Labs once, and he just like seemed to be cycling through all these different sort of digital costumes. And I just thought it was so cool. And what I want more than anything is to see a whole team of improvisers that are doing that can kind of like make this sort of improvised digital baddie cartoon. I think that would be so fun.
I think about like with that, they used to do the Brady Bunch show, which was it was loosely improvised. It was based on, they'd watch an episode of the Brady Bunch, and then they would improvise loosely like the beats, and that's how we got the Brady Bunch movie. If someone were to do that with old television now, just bring back the retro stuff and then grab the actors, face and put it on your own so you could play the character, that'd be really fun.
Yeah. I think that, and again, it's got to be it's so bittersweet. Every time I talk about this stuff, I'm excited for the sort of like what do they say, necessity is the mother of invention. And so it's like, for as long as we need to do things this way, there's going to be really cool developments which are very exciting. It's just so unfortunate that the reason behind that need is so dark.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact of the matter is that since it does look like it's going to be another 6 months or more, and Luane also commented with some stats on all the types of vaccines that are being worked on, and I also hope that it will change sooner than 6 months. But even if things go back to somewhat normal, I think that like it's still going to be, people are still going to be wary about
Going
packing
out
out
and
a
yeah,
theater um, for a little bit. So
it's
it's
just not
probably
going to
still a
feel
few months.
natural.
Yeah,
I was watching the Borat movie, and this like watching him interact with like and just seeing groups of people on screen without their mask on. It was uncomfortable. And, like even though I wasn't there. I don't know.
yeah,
So
it
I
is.
can
It's
see
like
how
it's so funny
yeah
to see like new movies come out or TV and then be like, when was this filmed? They're like
yeah
how many people are um or even or not even like new ones. Sometimes I watch something old and I'll get this visceral reaction from seeing people breathing too close to each other and being like,
yeah
oh,
uh,
calm down. This was fictional and a while ago.
yeah.
Like, but yeah, I think that would be my like uh wish list of what to see developed first. I think music is a
Right
really cool thing that will probably be the thing that kind of gets unlocked at a next level first.
right.
But I think this like digital sort of digital
Oh,
costuming would be my wish for what
I
comes
can.
next for improvisers.
I would love
Do you
that
have
too.
like a other things on your list that you would love to see
Honestly,
tech wise?
even if people just learn how to change up their background, because I just me from a visual point of view, seeing six people with six different I'm always looking to see, hey, what's that picture on your wall? Like that's me. I'm always looking at stuff, and I had a hard enough time paying attention when I'm supposed to be in the first place. So
Yeah.
I would like that, and I think that goes with what you just said. Um, Honestly, it would be nice if there was a way for the to hear the audience reaction. I know they try to do that on SNL with the Weekend Update. They had people on there laughing and stuff. It felt weird. I wish it
Yeah,
was a
it does.
better. I know that with the rest, I watch wrestling. They've built the whole stadium specifically for wrestling with the so the audience can react, and it's just a bunch of screens with different people and
Oh,
their whole thing.
like
Yeah,
yeah,
uh,
because I've seen like spectator sports like that where they have like on the jumbo screen like a Zoom call. Is that what you're talking about? They'll have like different screens of people.
yeah. So WWE has I forgot. I think it's the Staples Center down in Florida because the McMahon in the Republicans are tight. And Florida is a very Republican state. They've rented out the stadium for as long as this pandemic is going on, and they've totally made it a wrestling. I think they call it the Thunderdome. So
Okay.
like there's a whole bunch of LED screens and stuff. Like they do a lot of cool stuff with it too. Like the graphics and stuff wrap around the ring and everything. It's really wild. But during the matches, you see a bunch of people zoom in to watch different matches and stuff. And you can't really hear their applause. I think that's like canned applause, but I think they coached them up to if they like something, they have to physically put their thumbs up, and if they don't like it, it's this. So when the bad guy comes out, you just see a bunch of people like, oh no, it's as cheesy as it is, it's very satisfying because
Is there
before
somebody?
when it
Wait. So you got a whole screen of people going like no, and then
yeah
is there like a sound mixer somewhere being like okay, it's like 70% no's and then like 30%
I
cheers.
believe I believe that's a thing. Yeah, and they
Liven this.
probably
That's really funny because Julia and I were watching the women's national league for soccer, and uh, and I think it was overlapping. There were two leagues going on at the same time. One of them was using a audience track to like um, basically have a live studio audience reaction, and it was like it was so weird to me, and I was more fascinated and distracted by it than I should have been for like
right,
watching the game or whatever. But like when once you know somebody with the ball got past a certain point or toward the goal, they would like sort of amp up the crowd reaction, and it's like this is so weird at it. Like, is this making any? It's just weird to me. And then I think it was WNBA that had none of that. And I was like, I don't think that like watching sports that I need the packed house feel personally. I can see how it would be different for wrestling though, because it is much more like theatrical and to the audience than sports. I can just watch sports on mute, and if I'm gonna watch sports, which I honestly don't often, I can do it on mute and still be care about it.
Well, plus wrestling is scripted, so whoever's running the board can have like, well, this is when Roman Reigns comes out, time to hit the boo button. All right, you know. So they have the benefit of coercing it to make it sound more natural than this like, oh, someone's got the ball, hit the button.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. But that would be cool. I think that would add something to improv, because it's hard to. Well, I don't know. Do you think that do you think there's any benefits to not having it? Because I said earlier about like there's been, in my observation, I would say a higher success rate of like having a coherent scene where people are listening and using right out the gate at all levels of experience. You know, in like jams and class workshop. As well as like live stream shows. I've just noticed that that's better. And I wonder if it is because you're not trying to get the audience reaction.
Yeah, but I think about what like we were talking to Oliver about how the fourth wall really isn't that important. And with doing stuff online, it's like the ultimate fourth wall, because we don't know what's on the other side. We can't see through it. So not hearing the action, you don't know what to play in. I mean, you have instincts, but I don't know. I like feeding an audience, and I like denying an audience long enough so for them to really want something and then give it to them. You know, you're just playing on instincts, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of talented people out there who can do it, but I really miss that aspect of performing, like antagonizing the audience and then finally, you know, giving them what they want, and then them thanking me for making them wait that long. It's the greatest feeling, and you don't really get that on Zoom.
Yeah. I suppose if you're going to have it, use it. And I know that it's been like sort of a stylistic conversation of like some one type of improviser would rather have that feeling of a fourth wall and keep it more theatrical, for lack of a better term, the more as if it's written, and another style would prefer to like be more loose and sort of like have an overhead, this feeling of an overhead eye and an audience inclusion, so I guess it kind of depends on which camp you fall into on that spectrum. I think people who would prefer to have it be more of a feeling of a fourth wall maybe are getting the reps that we're hoping for, or I wonder, I guess, you know.
No,
but I think you're right. If you're going to have audience reaction, if that does become available and you let the audience in, I would say definitely use it, play into it.
Right. I think it's like what that great improviser said: don't let a carpenter tell you where your stage ends. So
we should make a list of your quotable quotes on
it's such a bullshit
in these conversations.
But yeah, so I'm just thinking like this is like adjacent to that, like, you know, the internet's telling me we're at who I can hear and who I can't hear, and it can be frustrating, but it's not the worst. It's not impossible to perform. Like conversations like this are going on, and I love that. I'm just saying, like, if I could do something to the internet or to the show to improve it, for me, my experience, I would let the audience in.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Again, just based on personal taste, that's what I would, love to have, especially for like the short form stuff for GoLabs. You know, do. It's like line games just don't have the same impact. We keep everyone on screen for line games, and then like other cast members will laugh and stuff, and that's great. But yeah, I think for like presentational non-scenic short form, it's so much harder to. I would really want to know from stand-ups too. I've seen some people do like live stand-up. I'm like, how do you know what's working?
Yeah. And you know what? Some other audience members need the permission to laugh from the audience. Like some people are just not comfortable laughing out loud. I mean, you've been in the theater enough times on that back wall. I applaud until people learn it's okay to applaud, use their applause as well. And then I back off. It's, some people don't know how to act in a theater, and I'm not taking a dig at it. It just, some people are polite, and if they don't allow themselves to enjoy themselves because they don't want to be disruptive or anything like that, when just having a good time is totally cool and exactly what we want you to do when you come to a theater. So,
yeah.
So I'm thinking like there might be a case of people taking in the content and not enjoying it as much as they can because, or it might be the opposite. They might be more comfortable in their own home watching this. So I know I haven't took a survey yet. So
Again,
I don't know.
I think it's like just like for performers, I think it's a matter of taste for audience too, because some people would still prefer the network sitcom that does have a live studio audience as a viewer to laugh along with that laugh track, and others, once things like Arrested Development and The Office started becoming like more of the norm sitcom, I feel like a lot of more people were like, I like that because they're not patronizing me by telling me when to laugh or thinking I don't know what's going to be funny. You know what I mean? So I think some people for these types of shows would also, be at least comfortable, if not, it's probably rare that people be more comfortable.
Right.
And like, thank God I can watch it from my laptop now.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's probably a minority of people, but so yeah, let's just it's a pretty depressing topic, but like the amount of theaters that have had to give up their spaces or close has been tough to watch, and I'm sure I can imagine what it's like to be, the community leaders or employees and owners of these places. But like I can't help but think like, what is it going to be like the rebuilding one on the other side of it? Like, what are your thoughts on like?
Oh man, no, I hear you.
I guess my one of my main questions is like, are we going to see like a lot of new places take like I just wonder if are there places that are going to open up as like a digital theater? Some places like have been losing their spaces but staying active as a web presence. Some there are like socially distanced improv from Kim and Dana that Kim we talked to early in the season. That entity, who knows if it like might keep going as like a business or whatever. And then when things do reopen up, as they inevitably will, is it going to be like, okay, all of the improvisers that have been jonesing for that community and live theater experience, are they going to go to these fewer places, or are we going to see places return or new places open up? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I really like this quote first. So thank you for that, Kurt. I completely agree.
The theater isn't a theater is go ahead.
Oh, Kurt says the theater isn't a place; it's its people. I completely agree. But there is comfort in history within the walls of the buildings that we studied at and performed at. So I mean, there's that almost a muscle memory of what's it like to be on that stage, that particular stage that you've been on 1,000 times. And I hope the people who lost their space find a new alternative and everything bounced back. I hope there's a surgence of people who want to go see things live when everything goes back to normal, just because it's something they haven't experienced in almost a year now. I remember when I don't know if they opened up the movie theaters by you, but AMC was open up for like 2 weeks and it was full, like not full. I mean, in a safe way, they were selling out.
Reduced capacity.
Reduced. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I didn't want you to think like there was like a line, like there's this a big Corona party so they can watch New Mutants or something. No, it was people want that. And I think it's always been true in history, and during dire times, like entertainment is always the thing that thrives. So
yeah. Well, so I think somebody's brought it up in a previous conversation that in times of the economy tanking, the two industries that go up are bars and entertainment.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That makes sense.
You need distraction.
Yep.
It's that gallows humor. You gotta let that tension out.
Yeah.
So I hope there's a resurgence, and it would be cool to see like different offerings. Like I would like all the theaters that I love, Planet Ant, Go, and Pointless to come back, and the many other ones across the country, and that would be cool if people who had time off or had just time to learn some new skills bring that to their theater or a new theater or whatever they want to do with it. It'd be cool to see how everybody has grown because we had to experience this.
Yeah. It'll things got to go back to normal eventually. Who knows? Right. We can be hopeful about when, but
I would actually like to watch to see how many less podcasts there are after this everything goes back to normal.
It's like it kind of reminds me of something like MySpace or LiveJournal.
Yeah.
Not for all the same reasons, but I have this thought every once in a while of like there's just some MySpace graveyard out there of like so many profiles that people made that are just inactive now, and I feel like that will eventually happen for podcasts too. Is that like, well, we back to normal, and then there's just like thousands and thousands of podcasts that go dormant. Just out there in the podcast sphere. But I think you're right. I think that people will people definitely do want the live experience, and although I think it'll be a cautious return for a lot of people for theaters. I think that people will be eager to safely do it.
I agree.
And be on the other side of it.
I agree.
I also know that some theaters were doing like a $100 rental. You can for $100 at maybe AMC, you could rent a theater and play whatever movie you want, and bring up to 20 people.
Okay.
I think that's,
James, in a world where you have like just $100 burning a hole in your pocket, you can rent a theater for
20 people though. You split that 20 ways, you got $5 a person.
Okay, I'm not. The question's not about the economics. The question is, you have a movie theater 24 hours to show whatever movies you want. And nothing's off the table. Any movie that has actually been filmed, pressed, released, that's how you make a movie. What movies are you watching?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably watch the Matrix trilogy and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And
all right.
I guess I would just want to pick like the most epic if you go on a road trip, you go, I'm gonna listen to a discography.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do is what if we have a 24-hour lock-in a movie theater? I'm definitely trying to pick the I probably do maybe like the Harry Potter movies or something, or
that'd be cool.
Or if I could, just the whole series of like Game of Thrones or something.
I would do all the Star Wars movies in order.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
In
yeah.
story order. Yeah. I
In
think
story
that
order.
yeah, or man, or maybe all the Marvels. Yeah, that'd be hard. Or just like the greatest hits, you know?
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna switch to the Marvel movies. I would go the Marvel universe, and I would let the X-Men in because
Of course, yeah.
yeah, I don't
Of
care what
course.
Marvel and Disney say or whoever the owner parent companies are. To me, they're one
Yeah,
world.
I have $100. I don't care what Disney says.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, but I wonder. So I wonder if that's one way that some theaters might be doing it because there
Right.
is something a little bit more. Again, it's at this current moment, it's a different story
Yeah.
because of the spiking and the return of like lockdown and home sheltering orders and all that. But as the new cases and everything ebb
Yeah.
and flow, um, like I think it sounds safer to me to be like 20 people I know
Yeah.
by invitation only go to this movie theater in a giant room that we can spread out in. I
Yeah.
would feel comfortable doing that, and maybe I might feel
Well,
comfortable even doing it in like 100-person black box.
yeah. If if I knew 20 people who work from home and we can get tested, everybody, let's all go. Monday we all get tested, and then Sunday we all go see the movie after we get our results. But we're somewhat quarantined the entire time. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think because I don't know, like I think there would be interest if there. I've seen enough people on
Right.
social media and like conversation threads about this subject that are like, we would love to, I miss this place, I would love to go back,
Yeah.
like should is it time to reopen and all that, like I don't want to push that to like
No.
the general
No.
public, but I think there would be enough interest to be like, okay, we'll do it for 10-15 people, and it's going to be this price, basically a rental or a buyout,
Right.
and we'll do a show,
Well,
and then it's I guess
yeah.
then it comes back to like the performer risk factor and all that, and it's just there's too many variables to
Yeah, I mean
do it
that's what
safely.
PJ said, and I completely agree. Like he not only does he have to make business decisions, like everybody who works for him is his friend. And I'm sure everybody, all the other theater owners feel the same way. These are your friends; these are people you came up with, or people you train, people you care about. So you don't want to put them in harm's way just so we can do a show. I honestly, Pete and I have been talking about this a lot. We still want to do Snow Day. We've been doing it for, this will be our 14th year. It has to be virtual. What does that look like? It's going to be interesting, but
Yeah,
now that he's getting so much better on the board, I'm not as, stressing out like I was a couple months ago. So this is
yeah.
going to be,
Well, look,
I don't know.
I don't want to throw this wrench into your thoughts on it, but like you can only put 10 people in this in StreamYard.
Right.
I don't know why that is. And
Yeah.
that's my number one wish for StreamYard specifically, is to increase the capacity of how many people you can have in the
Right.
session, because you can rotate people, in and out
Yeah.
just fine. But on
Right.
Zoom, you can have like 100 people on the same call, and it's like
Yes.
even 20 would go way farther than 10 on StreamYard. That'd be nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna try to figure out, anybody out there on the internet who has suggestions on cool ideas for Snow Day. I'm listening, because we're trying to put it together. Normally, in a normal year, we would already have submissions done. I would have been out there putting out flyers already. This is I'm already, and I'm moving. So
Yeah, it's a
what
lot
a
going
fun
on.
day. Yeah, it's cool, man, though. It's, hey, this is 2020.
Well, are you taking well, let me ask, are you where are you at it in the logistics of it? Like, are you at the place where you're at least taking on like volunteers, or open to people who are interested in helping out with it?
We always taking on volunteers, but right now we're still in the planning phase. We want to decide. I think the big debate now is, do we still do the 24-hour thing? Because not every Snow Day has been 24 hours, and I don't know if it's like even having a fundraiser during these times, it's kind of, it doesn't feel that great because not everybody's working. So,
Yeah, and again, the 24-hour thing has a little bit of the part of that appeal is like the lock-in feel
yeah.
of it, of being together.
There was a bit me and Pete were doing where we're talking about he and I just lock ourselves and go for 24 hours as we as we broadcast this.
That's funny. I think that's funny.
I'm kind of leaning towards that. I don't know
Yeah.
how Natalie, Susie, and Lily would feel about it, but
Yeah. I mean, you could also do multiple. You could do like a weekend though. You could basically do like a snow day festival.
Yeah. It'd be cool. Like, and then with since we're video stuff, we can do the best of. So take old clips and just have fun with it. And just see what we can do. So like these are the kind of things, finding new ways to do stuff that means stuff. Yeah, I'm saying stuff a lot. Finding new ways to do traditional things is going to be a cool thing that we're doing now. So I think that's what keeps the community, together and stuff like that. I love a good tradition. So
yeah, I'm with you, and I think that's a good note to leave it on. Is looking forward to snow day and figuring out how something that you guys have done for years is going to adapt to this medium and still find ways to get together, do this thing for a good cause, and keep the community thriving. Because as Kurt said, it's not about the place; it's about the people.
Yep. Peter, who's been.
Hi, Pete.
Hey, Pete.
Pizza StreamYard is keeping it to 10 people for social distancing reasons.
I guess we're locking ourselves in. We have a hashtag now, so
StreamYard,
that's legit.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
It's legit now. All right.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So that's it for this episode. I'm glad that we talked through the ups and downs of this ongoing situation that's mostly depressing.
Yeah.
So thanks for bearing with us as we do that. If you tuned in, Luane, thanks so much for your comments, and thanks for leaving those resources. If you head to the comment threads on Facebook for some recommendations on teachers' resources and some open mics from Luane. And Kurt, thanks for joining. Pete, thanks for being here.
Right. And anybody who didn't have the opportunity to join us when we're live, please feel free to leave comments, questions. We like to hear from you. It's a conversation. Let's keep the conversation going.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning into Improv FAQ at length. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.